This is part 2 of recapping this anime. Make sure to subscribe and like the video. The story continues as the general tells Agent 6 that the treasure he found has opened the path to the Demon Lord's castle for the heroes' party. However, he has just received word that they are being attacked by Haney of the Flame. The general would like for 6 to take her out, along with the other members of the Demon Lord's Elite Four, and we learned that it was all the strategist's idea. As they await the battle, 6 and Alice discuss how obvious it is that the strategist has sent them on a mission to get themselves killed. Alice's shotgun is currently being repaired and Grim has fallen asleep yet again. But that's okay since 6 only wants to pretend like they will fight. 6 has decided to fight and asks Snow to wake Grim. She has just taken out a 3-year loan on a new weapon and rushes off into battle. Rose won't do it either since she wants to take a bite out of the griffin so she can be able to fly. Alice takes on the task, which leaves 6 with handling the golem. They both aren't able to perform their tasks, so Alice decides to warp in some plastic explosives. 6 does his best to buy some time until then, but takes a beating as the transfer is taking longer than usual. 6 decides to release the limiters on his suit and a countdown begins. Rose arrives to complain about the bad taste in Griffin, but he tells her to leave. As the countdown has just finished, 6 is now able to overpower the golem. Just as the explosives arrive and they finally defeat it, Grim finally wakes up and 6 explains that there is a 3-minute cooldown. After releasing his limiter, he is not able to move and it is now up to his unit to protect her on her nice physique. But that only enrages her. Henny is impressed by Rose and expresses her disappointment after fighting the female knight. Snow arrives to explain that her brand new weapon was melted by Haney and asks that 6 got revenge. He explains that he can't move though, and Haney overhears this. She promises to make his defeat fast and begins an attack that Rose says she won't be able to block. Grim buys them some time. 6 apologizes to Alice as he gives him to temptation, but Snow arrives to break it up. When she does, Haney loses, never intended on giving her back the precious stone. This earns him even more evil points and Haney vows to get a revenge one day. That night the unit celebrates their victory and Snow finally acknowledges how 6 and Alice are vital parts of the unit. She hasn't accepted him totally and 6 realizes Snow must be secretly falling for him. At the end of the night, Snow drops off a very drunk 6 and promises to kill him one day for teasing her so much. The strategist just so happens to overhear her, and before she can explain what she really meant, he takes her somewhere secluded. He understands how much trouble 6 has caused her and reminds Snow of her goal to rejoin the Royal Guard. She thinks about how 6 is foul-mouthed with a nasty personality, but she wouldn't want to take all the credit for the work their unit has done. The strategist still thinks she hates them though and explains that he only needs her to find evidence that 6 is a spy like she had originally thought. He sends her with a reward to give 6, but she would eventually decide against betraying him. However, when she arrives outside his room, she can overhear his conversation with Alice. Snow was surprised to hear what 6 would think being married to her is like. Even more shocking is when he reminds Alice that they need to focus on their spy mission for the Kisaragi Corporation, so that he can become its leader. Snow reveals herself to them and confronts them directly about being spies. 6 calls her a pervert for barging in without knocking, but it becomes clear that Snow is not joking around. She is still grateful for what they have done for her country, so she doesn't ask about who they are and simply demands that they leave immediately. Days later, Snow explains that the strategist assumed she was the reason 6 left and put her back in the Royal Guard. Rose and Grim were allowed in as well, but Snow still feels terrible. Rose reports that the Demon Lord's army is on the move and they may attack in the next few days. Snow thinks about how she should have given him a chance to explain, but we see that 6 is doing just fine. They have relocated and decided that it's time to set up the teleporter and connect it to Earth. When it's ready, agents will be sent and the nation will be invaded. Alice notices something is off, but 6 reminds her that he is an agent for an evil corporation and has no feelings. Preparations for the portal will take a month and they think about what 6 can do in the meantime. Alice explains that the demon army will surely return with great force and 6 exclaims that Snow will get what she deserves after kicking them out. He does take blame for actually being a spy and Alice points out how lenient she was, considering most nations simply execute spies. 6 explains that he won't go save her. Since he is no hero, 6 would then spend the night earning evil points by tormenting villagers. When he is interrupted by Snow, she knows he is a pitiful pervert but explains that this is a new low for him. However, 6 reveals that he was actually preparing for the Demon Lord's attack. She doesn't believe him and 6 is surprised to hear that Snow hasn't told anyone about why he left. However, he uses the opportunity to tell Rose to spread the news that Snow's constant advances towards him were becoming too much. 6 offers to help with the upcoming battle and only asks that Snow apologize. but she refuses. The next day 6 learns that he has earned himself a bad reputation as the Zipper Man after his evil doing the night before. It has resulted in a decent amount of evil points, and Alice decides that they will save 200 for their trump card and use the rest on mines. They spend the night placing the mines, and the next day they are surprised to hear that the Chosen One has gone missing. Alice learns that the Chosen One had almost defeated one of the Elite Four when an enemy used the random teleportation spell on him. He could now be anywhere and is most likely already dead. The two point out how the story of heroes usually has them lose at first, only to train harder, become stronger and redeem themselves. 6 realizes now that the Chosen One's legend went off the rails because he took the tower before the Chosen One could redeem himself. Alice's only 2 ideas for defeating the Demon Lord. Now the first is to warp in nuclear weapons, and the second is for her to infiltrate the Demon Lord's palace alone, self-destruct and blow the entire place up. 6 doesn't like either, and Alice explains that there are no other options since the Chosen One was their last hope. It's only a matter of time before the Demon Lord is victorious, and the two come up with a solution to run away. As they prepare to leave, Tilly arrives to explain that she has begun to think 6 is a spy. He attempts to deny it, but after Tilly threatens 6 with torture, he admits to being a spy. She doesn't want to arrest 6 and explains that her country will surely be destroyed by the next day. Tilly's only request is that 6 spread the word of how hard her country fought and for him to warn other countries of the Demon Lord's power. 6 reluctantly decides to protect her for a while, but wonders again if they should just run away. Alice explains that it would be easier to run when the Demon Lord attacks. 6 tells old unit members that they should run if things got bad, but Snow explains that they would rather die than run. Rose and Grim hesitant to agree with her, and 6 taunts centered over the edge. Tilly is worried as the war will begin soon, but 6 is just busy telling stories about how perverted unicorns are. Haney leads the Demon Lord's army and explains that she fears one human even more than she does the Chosen One. Their army begins to fall for some unknown reason, and Haney can sense Her Majestite nearby. She assumes 6 is nearby and wonders if he now wants to join their side since the Chosen One is gone. At the castle, Alice points out how their mines must be slowing down the Demon Lord's army, and 6 wonders if they should just run off now. He tells Tilly that he isn't worried about his comrade since he knows how strong they are. Just then Haney and the Demon Lord's army appear in the distance. The battle begins, and Grim plans to use a curse to stop the golems. She has gathered every pair of rings from every couple in town and will use them as a sacrifice to her god. Her curse is successful and she manages to pin the golems to the ground. Grim isn't finished and requests that her Lord Zyrith seal away Haney's flame magic forever. That curse isn't as successful and has rebounded onto Grim. She doesn't use flame magic anyway and tells Haney that she will continue cursing her until she runs out of sacrifices. Rose joins the fight but struggles to hold her own against one of the Demon Lord's Elite Four. Humans have always treated her poorly, but she fights for them now because she was deemed an apprentice combat agent and Rose's grandfather taught her to never abandon friends. Snow jumps in to defend her, but Grim and Rose both tell her that they can handle the demon. They remind her that her main priority is to protect the princess, and so she heads off. At the castle, 6 attempts to convince Tilly to run away. He explains that even if the country has lost, her survival means they still win, and he offers his assistance in helping keep the royal bloodline going. Their escape is interrupted by Snow, who explains how dire the situation is and that Rose and Grim are the ones holding the army back. She begs for 6 a help, even going so far as to offer him all her money and even her brand new weapon for his help. Alice wants him to just ignore her and reminds him to use all his remaining evil points on their escape. 6 agrees, remembering that he works for an evil corporation and is now just a normal civilian after being kicked out of the unit. Snow makes one final plea for him to rescue Rose and Grim, as they will surely fall, and Alice expresses her disappointment when 6 agrees to help. She points out how he has been with the corporation longer than any other agent but never gets promoted because he can never fully commit to being evil. There's no time to make it to the front gate, so 6 asks Alice to warp in an anti-material gun. They don't have enough evil points and 6 admits to using them on some lewd magazines. His next plan is to punch the king in the face for being useless in the hopes that he will get some evil points. But Snow stops him. She offers herself completely to 6 and he is encouraged by Alice, for the greater good alive, and manage to make their way amongst themselves how the demons have actually fallen into their trap. 6 misses a shot from his rifle and the demons realized that he can't fire shots consecutively. Otherwise they would all be dead. Things become more tense and 6 demands that Alice warp in his buzzsaw. Alice explains that he doesn't have enough points and tells him not to blame her for the repercussions. His weapon arrives, releases the limiters on his suit and everyone prepares. As the 10-second countdown begins, he proclaims that there isn't enough room for more than one bad guy and begins his assault on the Demon Lord's elite 4 members. The buzzsaw tears through everything in its path as Six spins at his limiter, and he tells everyone to calm down since he will come up with a plan in the next month. However, that is actually when the teleporter will be ready and he will be able to head home. Snow gives Six a kiss for his efforts, but he teases her. Luckily for him, his cooldown is over and he is able to run away. Later, Tilly offers Six his place among the knights again, but he declines, explaining that he doesn't want to command his crazy unit anymore. He prepares to head home, but Snow arrives to make a final attempt at getting him to stay. After a moment, Six looks to all his new friends and decides to help them one last time. Six punishes the strategist by removing his remaining hairs after Snow told him that the strategist was up to no good. As he prepares to leave once more, Alice points out that he has negative 190 evil points and will surely be punished if he returns to Earth that way. Their only option is to stay until Six has positive evil points again and heads off to torment his squad members. But that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.